Okay, take two. Welcome in. Hopefully, you're joining me on this second go at the Forking Audacity. Welcome in if you're making it here. And if you are making it here, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that we can hang out together. The color is still a little bit weird here in my new office space. It was great this morning and on all of my calls today, and somehow now seems to be like a little bit of jaundice going on, maybe. But we work with it. We live, we learn, we brighten, we increase and decrease saturation, we change the temperature of the camera, and thank you all for bearing with me as I do all of that. Anyway, welcome in. Welcome to this week's edition of the Forking Audacity, where my computer or camera or both and had the freaking audacity to sort of freak out. And while I was on camera for about 2 minutes, around 7 o'clock, I was doing some sort of robotic motion and speaking. So take two, and hopefully you find me here. I am live on Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook, and also on YouTube. So I'm so glad to be here. You may see behind me that I have a new wall, which I mentioned at the top of the hour. We're a little bit still off on color, but this is real. This is real life here. In my last home, which I lived in for 16 years, I had just put up tiles like these. They were a bit smaller and a bit varied in color. And then I unexpectedly decided to move. And I've been here in my new home for about 3 months. And I kept looking around for different ways to decorate differently and to spice things up in a new way. And then I finally realized, like, getting a similar thing or the same thing wasn't settling for fine. It was actually doing what I wanted again, because I wanted it when I put it up a year before I moved. And so welcome to my new space. I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to have all of you here with me. If you're popping in, if you're in the room, come and say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here. Let me know if you have any questions along the way as we start navigating tonight's conversation. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a different take on Audacity. So a lot of the things I've been talking about in this Audacity series is related to how the Audacity comes at us. And tonight I'm changing the angle a little bit, because what I really want to call out tonight is how we play into the Audacity. And I'm going to take a step back first, because if you don't know me, if you've just stumbled upon this live or my LinkedIn, or if you've seen Fine as a Trap somewhere on my stuff, you're not quite sure what that means. Let me first talk about what I mean when I say fine. First of all, I firmly don't believe that anybody is fine. I don't think fine is the thing. Quite honestly, I think fine is the thing that we say we are when we're decidedly not fine, but we don't know how to make things better. And so instead of saying everything is terrible and I don't know how to fix it, or I am so overwhelmed and I don't know how to fix it, or my boundaries are awful and I don't know how to change them, or I'm in burnout and I don't know how to make it better, instead of that, hey, Ash, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Instead of working to make it better, we say we're fine. Instead of hopping deeply into something has to change, I'm going to go out there and get myself some support. I'm not going to sugarcoat how things are for me. Things are hard. They aren't fine. They aren't going well. And this is not okay. Instead of that, because we're so busy, because we're so invested in what we're doing, because we get so deep into the trajectory of our careers, we just brush off the feelings and we say we're fine. And there are a couple of reasons we say we're fine. One is what I just said, like, we are so busy. I don't know anybody who doesn't feel some sense of busyness and urgency in some big area of their lives, whether that's career, family, relationships, friendships, outside responsibilities, volunteer stuff, board stuff, whatever it is. We all have things, and we all have things that make us feel like we are bogged down. We all have things that make us say, like, it's fine. It'll be fine. I have this responsibility. It's fine. I'm fine. Things are fine. Where I think that we go wrong is that we think fine is the best it's going to get. And don't get me wrong, if you are below the line of fine, if you are below a neutral level of things, getting to fine might be the goal before you start figuring out how to get beyond fine, how to get better than fine. So if your starting point is, I need to get to a baseline, and sometimes that means getting a job, not necessarily the job. Sometimes that means setting a boundary, not setting all of the boundaries. Often that means figuring out what it is that you want to do and in what order, because there's just too much going on all at once. And if we look at the world around us right now, especially in the US, there is a lot happening to us and at us. And so you can start by getting below neutral to neutral. You can start by getting to a place that feels less terrible before you start going after like all your freaking dreams. So one reason that we say we're fine is because it's simply too overwhelming to even think about. The next reason, and I think the bigger reason that we say we're fine, is because we are high achieving, people pleasing, hardworking humans. Most of the humans I know have some aspect of hyper committing to work, some aspect of, I don't want anybody to be mad at me or disappointed in me. I don't want to do it wrong. And some aspect of, I don't know how to fix it, and I'm really good at fixing stuff because I'm a high achiever. So if I can't figure out how to fix it, it must not be fixable. That's the most common reason that I see and hear for people saying, like, it's fine, I'm just going to stay here. It is also the reason that I stayed in my previous career for as long as I did, and I kept coaching as a side gig for so long. I worked in corporate HR for feels like 300 years, but no, for 20 years. For 15 of those years, I was happy. I enjoyed corporate HR. I thrived on working a lot of hours and being involved in a lot of projects and being called in to help this team with this and interim manage that team and all of the things. I thrived on it. One day I fell off a metaphorical cliff. I didn't fall off an actual cliff. Too clumsy for getting to the top of a cliff to begin with. But around the 15-year mark of my HR career, I no longer liked it. In fact, I began to loathe it, and I didn't loathe every minute of it. And it wasn't like, I can recognize when the shift happened in retrospect, but in the moment, I just was getting like more frustrated, overwhelmed with things that didn't used to overwhelm me, resentful when somebody would ask me to do something that wasn't technically my job, but I'd done it for them before. And so, like, why wouldn't I do it again? I got frustrated by people assuming I would be in the room for things that weren't really my job. I got tired. I got really tired of doing the work that I was doing. And so gradually then, from that like 15 to 20 year mark in HR, I found more joy in coaching, both on the side and inside the company I was working in. There were several employees who I coached confidentially. And I realized that I no longer wanted to be doing what I was doing, but I didn't know what else was out there for me. And I, as many of us as high achievers do, had decided I had reached the limit. I had decided that it was fine to be fine, that it was okay to no longer be passionate about the things I'd been doing for 20 years. And that, like, this is what you get. You get to help people on the side and be the person for people on the side. But like in here, in this workplace that I'm in, where I'm being paid this salary, this was sort of all I got. Like starting over just felt like hard and confusing, and who wants it, right? And this is the place that so many of my clients start from. And by the way, most of my clients are not people who become entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. A lot of days I'm not even sure it's for me, but I'm still doing it because I'm passionate about it and I'm passionate about my clients and I have a big vision for the future. But most of my clients are corporate people who want to stay in corporate, and I work across industries. I work across professions. I've worked with regulated industries. I've worked with non-regulated industries. But what the commonality is among my corporate clients, who are typically directors, VPs, SVPs, CEOs, COOs, chief whatevers, is that there is a sentiment that if there was a solution, because we are smart people who help other people, we would have the solution and we would implement it. Like, we're not idiots, right? Of course, we're not idiots. We're very, very smart about everything. We're really good at work. We're good friends. We're good family members. We're good parents. We're good community members. And when there's a problem that comes up, where our hands go up, because we almost always either have the answer, or we have the resource, or we know who to go to, or we know what we can try, or we're willing to brainstorm. And so then when we look at ourselves, when you look at yourself and you think, well, I was able to help this person change their career because they were only at the specialist level. And so to move over, they took a lateral move and that worked for them. Or, well, sure, I helped this accountant friend of mine get a job as a blah, 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 compliance and advisory inside of this corporate environment. But, he was already an accountant. And so he had these skills and those skills. And I saw that they were transferable and I helped him see that they were transferable. But for me, I'm stuck here. So here I was, and here my clients have been in their corporate, very successful corporate careers where they're making six figures. They are earning in the top of whatever category they're in whatever company that they're in. And they've been told, or they've grown to assume that like this, whatever their box of this is it. So like, be happy with it. Okay, great. Thanks. Bye. But we're not. And so I see more people in there, and I'm going to the range is wider than this, but I see this in more people in their late 30s to early 60s who aren't nearly ready to retire, aren't nearly ready to be at the top of their game and the best that they've ever gotten, who feel like they've hit their upper limit. They feel like they've hit their ceiling. They start to feel like, I must have gotten lucky to get this job or this title or be on this team or be responsible for these things or earn this salary. And they start talking to themselves or internalizing things that other people are saying. And they convince themselves, you convince yourselves, I convinced myself at one point before I broke out of that there's nothing else. I became the VP of this, or the senior vice president of that, or the chief this officer. And, that's the top. I don't really see anything else for myself. So guess I'm stuck here. If I go to another company, I'm going to have to start over. I'm going to have to reestablish myself. Or if I set boundaries here, I'm going to get in trouble. People aren't going to trust me. They're going to think I'm lazy. Or if I tell my boss what I need help with, they're going to think I'm incapable. And how did I get to this level without being able to do X, Y, and Z on my own? And so we talk down to ourselves. We tell ourselves, we're fine. I'm fine. You're fine. This is fine. This is how it is. I'll find joy somewhere else. I'll be happy somewhere else. I'll pick up a hobby. Except we're so bogged down in the pressure of work, in the things we no longer enjoy about work, that when we get home, we don't want a hobby. We don't want to go to an art class or play pickleball or to go for a run or to cook dinner, whatever it is that we think we might enjoy otherwise, because all of our energy has been sapped by deciding that all we deserve is what we have now. And so I can remember being in my corporate career and not yet having my side gig that became my business of coaching and fractional HR services. Not having that sort of fleshed out yet, not having any pricing in place, not having any sort of strategy for income, but being in a place where I thought, this is it. This is what I've got. You can't make money as a coach. You can't make money having your own business. It's a little bit of like the childhood, you get what you get and you don't get upset rhyme, right? You get the tiny cupcake, or you get the smallest slice of pizza, or we don't have Diet Coke, we only have water, and you get what you get. You don't get upset, right? The sort of it is what it is mentality. And I had decided at that point in my career that my life's purpose was to coach other people on the side because I couldn't make money doing it. And then find my salary at work and be like as happy as I could be there. So I was living this sort of double life, right? Like I was working with people and saying to them, like, you can have whatever you want. We can build it. We can dream it. We can figure out what's going wrong. We can figure out what you need, what you want, and then how to make it go right. We got this. We can figure all of this out. Let's work together on it. And then I went back to my own life and I said, but it's not for me. I don't get to have this. And that is, I think, the most devastating part of this for me from the client base and potential client base that I work with, which is that there are so many of you out there who think that all you get is fine, who think that your life's purpose is only to serve others, resulting in that service being at your own expense. So it's not just but Lauren, I love serving others. Y'all, I love serving others. My life's purpose is to serve others. My life's purpose is to provide coaching and support and training and inspiration for people who have gotten to this like fine, eye roll place in their lives. That's not fine. That's not okay. That's not great. That's not working for them. And help them sort through what's not working, what they want, and how to get it. And I do that on teams. I do that with individuals inside of companies. I do that with individuals, mostly with individuals who hire me personally with their personal investment or combination of their company's investment and their investment. Sometimes the company pays for it in its entirety, but they're hiring me to figure out how they individually got to find what they actually want and what they need to implement, how they need things to be, how they need to behave, how they need to boundary set or emerge from burnout or figure out what they need so that they can actually live a life that's way better than fine. The life that they actually deserve, the life you all deserve. So I think that the audacity that you have right now in your mind and in your heart and in your gut is that you are not serving people in the best way that you can. You are hiding your talents. You are standing back from what your potential is, from what you want to be, from what you want to do, from who you want to serve, because you're doing something that's fine. You're serving a population, and that's fine. You're selling a product or managing people or whatever it is, and it's fine. And the more you say it's fine, the more you are trying to convince your brain that not only is it fine to not really be that satisfied with what you're doing in your career, but that it's all you deserve. And I don't believe that. And I have seen my clients go on to do amazing things, mostly still in their corporate lives, and serve better and louder and more impactfully, because instead of continuing to say it's fine and sort of suffering through how things just are, they have taken the reins on their career in whatever capacity they could. Some of my clients move to new jobs. Others of my clients stay in the same company. Some get promoted. Some move laterally internally. Some just set boundaries exactly where they are, or open boundaries, right? Boundaries go both ways. I was just talking about this with a client the other day. Sometimes we're closing boundaries, and that's what we talk about more, but sometimes we can open boundaries. Sometimes if we set a boundary over here and we close off this, we give ourselves the time and energy to open a boundary over here and explore that, whatever that is for you. So my call out to you today is, who do you think you are to hide your talents from the world? Who told you that it was okay to be fine and to not put yourself first for at least the time period where you're figuring out how you got to fine, where you want to be, and what gets you out of fine and into like an amazing, rich, beautiful, impactful existence. Like, imagine if some of the people you admire stopped at some point and said like, nah, I'm fine where I am. I'm fine. This is fine. Imagine Brene Brown, social worker, smart woman, brilliant presenter of information that could otherwise be dry or awkward or hard to hear. Imagine if she just stuck with social work and like a little bit of research and a white paper here and there. What we would be missing in the world because she didn't share her brilliance. Imagine Oprah, right? Got her first gig as a small town anchor, news anchor. Stop there. This is fine. This is my whole life. Imagine that. Imagine what we would not have been exposed to as a society had Oprah just stayed in her small space. Think of somebody you admire, whatever it is they do, whoever they are, and imagine if they had stopped somewhere in the middle and hadn't had an opportunity to impact your life the way that they impact your life or have impacted your life. I know in our corporate lives and in our corporate settings, we sometimes get into like discussions about things and then we can't come up with a solution. And I know you've been in this meeting before, right? Where on repeat, where somebody goes, it is what it is. And like, yeah, okay, where we are in this moment, all of the things that have happened that we've created or not created or missed creating, those things have already happened. So yeah, today in this moment, it is what it is. And I have an amazing magnet on my fridge that addresses this. And it says, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So often when we say it's fine and when we like sigh away all of the potential of something, it's because we feel stuck. And the answer to that, my friends, is that you have to stop having the audacity to hold back your talents. Hey, Nick, welcome in. You have to hold back. You have to let go of the audacity of saying, I'm fine, because you're not fine. There's no such thing as fine. Fine is a decision that we're making. It's not a feeling. We don't feel fine. If we feel good, we say, I'm good, I'm great, I'm doing well, thanks for asking. If we feel awful and we feel safe sharing that we feel awful, we say, I feel awful. If we feel burnt out and disappointed and resentful and angry, especially in our careers where we don't want to be a burden to other people, we tend to say, I'm fine. I'm fine means I don't want to bother anybody. I'm fine means I don't want the attention on me. I'm fine means I don't have the answer, so I can't really complain, right? I'm fine. And so I challenge you, and if you're looking for a couple of good books on this, Glennon Doyle wrote Untamed, which talks about sort of stepping out of being in hiding of ourselves and our potential. And Elizabeth Gilbert wrote Big Magic, in which she basically says, like, how dare you hide who you are and how amazing you are and the magic you have to offer this world by just like staying in a mediocre place that doesn't really serve you or anybody else. You're filling a seat. And that's not to say the work you have done isn't valuable. It absolutely is. My 20 years in corporate HR, I added value as much as I could every single day. I don't regret it because, you know, where I've been has gotten me to like here, now, today, this moment. So I don't regret having gone the path that I've gone. And also, I cannot imagine still being in corporate HR and not working really hard to spread this message that we don't deserve to be fine. We deserve better than that. We don't know how to look at ourselves objectively. We don't know how to look at ourselves and say, oh, I see. This is how I fix the things that I don't like in my own career, in my own life. And that's why we have coaches and mentors and peers that we look up to and constructive friends, which is a theme I talk about a lot. Your constructive friends are the friends who are going to help you elevate and who want to elevate themselves. Your not so constructive friends, who can be neutral, but more often are destructive, are your commiserator friends. The ones where you say like, oh my God, work is awful. And your friend says, yeah, I mean, that's just work, right? I mean, this is what we have. Someday we'll retire. That's not your constructive friend. So if you are in a place, and I want you to notice for the next few days, I want you to notice how often you say you're fine or it's fine or that'll be fine. Because the more you say it and the more you notice that you're saying it, sorry to say, and congratulations on knowing this now, you will become dissatisfied with fine. You are not fine being fine. We are not fine being fine. So if you want to talk to me about this, first of all, send me a DM. There's a link in my bio to all of my links. So you can, be with me on all the socials. You can set up a strategy call. I do a free strategy call. It's 30 minutes. We talk about you. We talk about what you're looking for. We talk about what I do. We talk about how I'm structured and what I charge for that. It is not a high pressure call. I will let you off the call without giving me an answer. And if you're uncertain, I don't want you to give me an answer. We'll have a follow-up call. But it gives you an opportunity to say all of the things, to talk about all of the things that you've been justifying as fine that really aren't fine. You get to talk about what you actually want. And the answer to what you actually want could be, I don't freaking know. I don't have any idea. I can't clear my head enough to even think about it, which speaks even more to the benefit of partnering with a coach. But you can set up a strategy call. If you have questions and you don't want to set up a strategy call, you're nervous to have the call, you feel icky about talking to me about it, if you're not sure you want to do it, which by the way is A-okay with me. You don't have to know. You don't have to have any idea whether you want to have a coaching partnership with me or not. It's not like a final interview where we decide we're working together in that moment, in that 30 minutes. I may challenge you on some of your thoughts and some of your truths. And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about you and about your career. But the pressure is off. I don't, and if you're ever on a call with a coach and they're like, you got to decide now, my prices go up tomorrow. I don't love that. If it feels too early for you to have a conversation with me, send me a DM. We can have a shorter conversation. We can have a not a strategy call conversation. I call that a dreaming call. It's just a call where you can say all the things and dream about what it might be like to have some support. And then you can say, great, I'll talk to you another time if I feel like I want to actually have a strategy call about working together. I am shortly in the next couple of days going to be posting to ask for help with some market research that I'm going to be doing. And so that's another opportunity for you to, get a little bit of intel from me as we go along. And bonus, I'm going to be going live for the next few weeks as close to every day as I can get, because I want to talk about this stuff. I want you to be able to talk about this stuff. I want you to have your questions answered. Sometimes I'll be going live with someone else starting tomorrow, actually, and on Wednesdays for a few weeks. Lauren Howard and I are going to be going live together to talk about all kinds of toxicity and boundaries and burnout and bad bosses and all of those things. So catch us. We'll be on both of our StreamYards. And please do let me know if there's a question I can answer, if there's a topic you want to hear more about. Nick says, people need to stop complaining. People don't ask how they are doing when their answer is always fine. Give an honest answer and people will keep genuinely asking. Yeah, it's true, right? I remember in particular a coworker who every time I asked how she was, she would say, okay. And I once asked her, what would make today amazing? And her response was, I don't know. And it was like, that was it. It was this flat affect, like she had already given up on what could be amazing. And Nick, you just said, I'm so done trying to show less of my talents to make others not feel badly. I did it my whole life in my jobs. Nope. Now that I own my business, ain't holding back a darn thing. Yes. Yes. Who are we to hide our talents? There's so much that we each have to offer the world. And when we stay in a job that doesn't serve us, when we stay in a job where we are doing less than we could be doing, and I don't mean less volume, I mean less impact, then we're stuck. We may as well just like do the Severance thing, right? And have our brains shut off. If you're not watching Severance, by the way, get on it because it is friggin' amazing. So that's it for me tonight. I will be back on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern with Lauren Howard. And again, every day for the foreseeable future until I can't stand to see my own face at the camera anymore. Have a great night, everybody. And thanks so much for being with me. Good night.